Welcome guys. In this video we talk about the immunity. We talk about the vaccine, what's the vaccine and how do vaccine work. But the main focus will be on how do vaccine work in this video. But first of all we talk about the what is the immunity, what is the vaccine, then we talk about the how do work vaccine. So if we want to understand this topic, how to work vaccine, then first of all we need to understand this topic, immunity. What is the immunity? Okay, so immunity, we can say, if we define this word immunity, okay, immunity, if an organism, if a person or if an organism resists a particular infection, okay, resists a particular infection by the specific antibodies, okay, that's called the immunity. Okay, it is the definition of the immunity. If we define it, this immunity word, so when a person or when an organism resists a particular infection, a particular disease, so by the help of specific antibodies, that's called the immunity. Okay, the immunity, it has two types. The first one is innate, the second one is adaptive. We talk about first of all innate, then we talk about the adaptive. First of all we understand the innate immunity. What the innate immunity is: when a pathogen or when a foreign particle enters in our body, okay, at the beginning this immunity responds, okay, this innate immunity responds, okay, it starts, this innate immunity starts at the beginning of the entry. Okay, when the pathogen, when a foreign particle enters in our body, okay, this innate immunity starts, or this innate immunity works. Okay, so innate immunity, what happens when a pathogen comes inside our body? The innate immunity found that antigen or found that foreign particle. When it found, it kills or it destroys the pathogen or it destroys the antigen. But how? In innate immunity, there are present some specific cells, such as neutrophils, okay, APCs. These are antigen presenting cells. Okay, these cells are antigen presenting cells, and these neutrophils, when the pathogen or when the foreign particle enters, it sense, okay, when it sense, it goes direct, first it reaches at the infection site. First of all, it reaches this cell, this neutrophil, which is present in blood cells, circulating inside our body in blood. So these are the type of the white blood cells. So these cells are the phagocytic. Okay, these neutrophils are the phagocytic. These neutrophils, okay, these neutrophils are present inside the body in blood. These neutrophils circulating in our blood. So where the infection creates these, when the antigen comes inside the body, these neutrophils reach the first at the infection site. Okay, then these antigen presenting cells, why we call them antigen presenting cells, and these are macrophages, dendritic cells. So why we call them antigen presenting cells? What happened actually when the pathogen makes the entry in our body? So these cells, these APCs, these antigen presenting cells, these, for example, this here is the macrophage. For example, this is the macrophage cell. Okay, when this is the antigen, okay, when this macrophage, these are the phagocytic, they engulf the antigen, they engulf the pathogen and kill it or destroy it and present it the rest of the body. Yeah, we found this antigen and we kill it. How? In these APCs, there are present specific molecules called MHC class 2. Okay, these are the specific molecules inside the antigen presenting cells. That's why we call them antigen presenting cells. So what is the job of MHC class 2, major histocompatibility class 2? When the macrophage or when these APCs, antigen present cells, engulf the antigen or engulf the foreign particle, whatever, so they destroy, okay, they destroy it and or kills it. Then some of piece of the antigen loaded on MHC class 2. Okay, when the piece of the antigen loads, so this MHC class 2, when it loads, okay, loads the antigen, piece of the antigen, and shows the rest of the body, the piece of the antigen. So it shows the rest of the body. Yeah, I found this antigen and we killed it, and this is the piece of the pathogen or antigen. So this is the job of the APCs, and this is the innate immunity. Okay, so this immunity, it's always active, always active. So this is the always active, this immunity, innate immunity. Okay, there are also present the complement system, or present also in innate immunity. What is the job of the complement? Actually, when this is the antigen, these releases some chemicals. Okay, these release some chemical materials which binds on this surface of the antigen and makes the little pores on antigen and destroys it. It's the job of complement system or complement. Okay, so this is the whole process of innate immunity. Okay, now we talk about the adaptive immunity. Okay, as I show here the innate immunity, now we talk about the adaptive immunity. Why we call it adaptive immunity? So this is the first process. Okay, this innate immunity, it gives a reply to the antigen very rapidly. Okay, now the adaptive immunity. What happens in adaptive immunity? In some type of cases, okay, in some type of cases, for example, the antigen makes the entry or a bacteria. What happens? This innate immunity fights against the pathogen, against the foreign particle, but the foreign particle is coming inside in very huge quantity. Okay, so what happens? This innate immunity signals to the adaptive immunity, send me some more soldiers because they are coming in huge quantity. Okay, what the adaptive immunity do? The adaptive immunity in adaptive immunity, it recognizes firstly, okay, it recognizes the antigen, or it recognizes the specific pathogen, whatever, and produces the antibodies. Okay, in adaptive immunity there are some specific cells present in adaptive immunity. I will rub it. So in adaptive immunity, there are present T cells, there are present B cells. T cells, there are present B cells. What is the job of the T cells and B cells? In T cells, there are also two types: CD4 cells and CD8 cells. The CD4 cells, these are helper cells. As the name mentions, these are helper. So these cells helping to another cells. And CD8 cells, these are toxic cells or cytotoxic cells or killer cells. Okay, so these CD8 cells, these are killer cells. This directly destroys the pathogen. And these CD4 cells, these cells helping to the B cells or the other cells. Okay, what is the job of the B cells? When a pathogen makes the entry, okay, when the pathogen or when the foreign particle enters, what happens? The T cells, for example, T cells sends them. Okay, T cells signals the B cells. Here is the antigen or here is the pathogen. So B cells, so this T cells, these T cells signals to B cells differentiate. Okay, so these B cells convert into the plasma cells, and plasma cells produces antibodies against that antigen. Okay, so when the B cells produces, when the plasma cells produces the antibodies, so these antibodies goes and destroy the pathogen or destroy the antigen. Okay, but some of antibodies destroy there, but the some of antibodies remain present in our body for a long time. When a same antigen, but this process takes some time. This process takes some few weeks, some days. Okay, but in a next term, when the same pathogen enters in our body, there are already present the antibodies. Okay, they directly go and destroy that pathogen. Okay, that is this in adaptive immunity. There are memory cells, so it remember the pathogen when it enters first time, for example, the pathogen enters the first time. So this adaptive immunity recognizes them and makes the antibodies. So it takes some time, it takes some weeks, it takes some days. So in next turn, when same pathogen or when same foreign particle enters in our body, okay, there are in our body there are already present the antibodies. Okay, so the antibodies goes and breaks them or destroys them. So in next time doesn't waste that time. Okay, so in adaptive immunity, it remembers the pathogen. Okay, when the next time the pathogen enters, they kill directly. The antibodies are already present. They directly go to the infecting site or the pathogen or found the pathogen and kill them. Okay, that's the difference between adaptive and innate immunity. Okay, it takes some time. This is a slow process, but this process remembers the pathogen for a long time, for a very, very long time. Okay, so I hope you understand the innate immunity, the adaptive immunity. Now we come to the next one, that's what is vaccine. Okay, I will rub it. I hope you understand this topic. I give you the overview of this immunity topic. I hope you understand it. Now the next one is vaccine. Okay, what is the vaccine? Vaccine is a substance or a material which can stimulate the immune system to produce the antibodies. Okay, so vaccine is the substance or the material which can stimulate the immunity to produce the specific antibodies. That's called the vaccine. Okay, it's used for the stimulating the immune system. That's why we make the vaccine, or we inject the vaccine. Okay, so if we define this is the substance, or it is the material used to stimulate the immune system for a specific antibodies. Okay, now how do actually work the vaccine? It's the main thing. How do work the vaccine inside our body? When we inject the vaccine, what happens inside the body? Okay, so actually this vaccine, it's how we take this, or how we inject this directly a virus or a bacteria, so it can cause any disease. But the vaccine, but in vaccine form, what we take a piece of pathogen. For example, this is the pathogen. We take a small piece of the pathogen and make the vaccine. Okay, but in other cases we can make this weak. For example, this is the pathogen. We can make this weak. Okay, and take this vaccine and inject it to the body. Okay, so we can take these type of pathogens in different ways. We can take this in weak form. We first of all destroy the pathogenicity of the bacteria or any pathogen, can take and use it in vaccine. So why we use them and make the vaccine? Okay, so we can first of all use the piece of vaccine, or a piece of pathogen, or piece of bacteria, small piece of bacteria, or we can take the whole pathogen but in weak form. First of all, we make it in weak because it does not cause any infection inside the body. So what happens inside the body when we take the vaccine, or when we inject the vaccine to the body? Okay, the immune system, it recognizes it as enemy. The enemy comes inside the body, or recognized as a pathogen or as a foreign particle. So that our immune system or our immunity makes the antibodies, okay, against the pathogen, against the foreign particles. So when the vaccine inject to the body, the immune system makes the antibodies against the pathogen, okay, and destroys the pathogen. Then there are some antibodies may be destroyed, and some antibodies remain present inside the body for a long time. When a real pathogen comes inside the body, it recognizes it, and there are already present the antibodies, and they found the antigen, they found that bacteria and kill them all. Okay, so that's why the vaccine is so important for us. Okay, so that's how the vaccine work inside the body. When we inject the vaccine to the body, so the immune system recognizes as a enemy, okay, or as a pathogen, or as a foreign particle. So the our immune system makes the lots of the antibodies and kill to the bacteria or kill to that pathogen. When the real pathogen, or when the real for when the real bacteria comes inside the body, makes the entry in our body, there are already present the antibodies, so they recognize them and catch them, engulf them, destroys them. So that's the work of vaccine. I hope you understand this video very betterly. I give you the overview of the immunity, what's the vaccine, what's how to work vaccine. I hope you like this video. Share this video, comment this video. Thank you.